doing good. So let's use the example of the squat, but we're going to go to the chin-up for a second, because I want to discuss the chin-up with you. So with the squat, as I said, if you only train your quads, your hamstrings, your calves, your glutes, and let's just call it the lower back, and you train all of them separately in an isolated manner, does that mean that they don't know how to work together? No. I have no trouble still squatting 500 pounds. Now, I'm not bragging when I say that. I actually have good levers for that, and I've trained for years to do that. Do I squat anymore? No. It's been a long time since I squatted. I occasionally squat once in a while, just for fun with friends, you know, just because it is kind of nice to get heavy weight on your back, but I understand not to hurt myself. I don't go crazy, and I don't ego lift. Now, how do I know that this is all true? Let's go to Kathy here, because she's a wonderful person to demonstrate. I used her as a guinea pig to prove a point. She didn't know I was doing it. So for several months, she told me she wanted to be able to do a chin-up. Now, we never, a single time in months, ever trained the chin-up, or anything like the chin-up, or any movement even looking like the chin-up.
Close.
Nothing looked like the chin-up, did we?
No.
But what we did train was we trained her middle trapezius, we trained her lats, and we trained her bicep, and we trained her abdominals. Those are the muscles which are important during a chin-up. Now, we trained all of those in an isolated fashion, and then one day we went for a walk to the park.
And you did a chin-up.
And I did a chin-up.
And I said, I want to do that. You said, then get over there and do it.
And did you have much trouble at all?
The first time, yes, because I didn't know how to
grab
on.
I'll let you, though.
And
It's better to learn by mistake.
So, yeah, I still have to not lift my legs up when I go up.
But you did it yourself the first time. It was sloppy, looked like shit. And then I simply corrected you. I said, keep your body under the bar. Pull.
Watch, keep your eyes. Yeah.
Pull with your arms the same way you would do this exercise and this exercise. And immediately you did it.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I'll never make it up there. But I did.
And this is from somebody, when's the last time you did a chin-up?
Never.
Oh.
Never,
I didn't even know that, actually. Sorry.
Never.
So never done chin-up before. We don't need to get into it, but she was very weak, actually.
Never thought I was strong enough.
Yeah, she was very weak when she came to train with me. And again, we never once trained this. This is everybody thinks to get good at the chin-up, what do? You train the chin-up. You train the chin-up with resistance bands.
Keep doing it.
You train the chin-up with this or that, or with less weight, or with the chin-up assisted machine.
But if your biceps and triceps and everything is strong, you're not gonna do it.
If the operating muscles,
you may do it once, but you're going to strain all your muscles.
Well, you won't even do
showing off doing it.
No, you won't even do it once. It won't be possible. If you're unable to do a chin-up and you try to force it, the only way you're going to be able to force it is jumping or momentum. Those are the only two ways you can do it. Now, you're going to tear your muscles doing that. You're kind of swinging, you're just swinging, but it's not a good way to train. It's stupid. It's a very foolish thing. It's a very foolish notion.
No, you hurt yourself.
It's just silly. If you want to get good at the chin-up, you train the muscles associated with the chin-up.
Right.
If you want to get, by the way, strong at the squat, if you're a power lifter, you train the muscles. Now, don't get me wrong, this is specifically for the power lifters and the Olympic lifters. If you train the muscles separately and you recover properly, your squat numbers are going to go up really fast. That does not mean you don't train the movement. You still have to train technique, and you still have to train those things, but do those training days separately with very light weight. That was just for them. Sorry. And now just for those guys. Now back to the regular people, the people who just want to build muscle quickly, recover quickly, be healthy, look good. The body. Let's just talk about the squat. Everybody thinks that the squat builds your body. It of course, like with any exercise I'm about to talk about, sure, the squat builds your body. At a cost. Here's the cost. You're only getting somewhere around 30% activation only at the bottom of the movement. So what does that mean? It means that you're not following a correct resistance curve. It means that you have extremely limited range of movement. It means that at the bottom, where you're supposed to be strongest, is where you're weakest, and at the top, where you're supposed to be strongest, where you're supposed to be weakest, you're actually strongest. So it's not only is it a backwards resistance curve, it is a really, really, really reduced range of motion. So you're going to have to do so many squats to get the same benefit you could do just one glute exercise. Again, I don't understand. You'll have to do squats for just years and years and years to get a nice ass.
I'm going on almost a year of squats every day.
Yeah, but it's not for your ass, though.
I know that. Exactly. It's not.
It's not for your ass, though.
It's not.
But it simply doesn't make sense to do these things. If you're the average gym goer, you have no reason whatsoever, and guys too, yeah, guys, and women trying to build your butt, there's no reason to do a squat. If you're a guy and you're going to the gym, unless you're, again, a power lifter, an Olympian, anything like that, you have no reason whatsoever to do a squat. None. You can't tell me you have a single one, other than enjoyment. If you enjoy it, no,
enjoyment into it.
If you enjoy it, great. If you go to the gym just because you can't wait to squat every day, I mean, cool. But I go to the gym to build big legs, to look good, to be strong. I don't go to the gym to do foolish things which have little to no benefit. I simply don't. It's a waste of my time, and my time is valuable.
So what do you do for your glutes?
So for my glutes,
I know what you've shown me.
Well, we're going to get into 3 exercises because I know everyone doesn't have access to everything, so we're going to say 3. So these 3 exercises I'm about to say, and this is for the ladies, I guess, but for the guys too. Exercise the absolute best glute exercise. All right, if you could just hold this guy for me real quick, we're going to demonstrate. Yeah, hold him up there. So, with the multi-hip extension machine, there's a pad up here. You're going to put your leg up here, pull through the range of motion, just like this, and out there stop. So, why is that a superior glute exercise? It's superior for a couple reasons. So, number 1, at the start of the movement, you're as high as you can go. Now, when you're as high as you can go, it's also where the resistance is most difficult for your body to move it. So your lever's in the right place. You're then going to go through a resistance curve, a complete resistance curve, and you're going to end here. The way that the cam, that's the actual weight-bearing part of the machine, is operating, it actually lessens the resistance at the end. On top of that, you're training in a bilateral fashion, which means that you're training one leg at a time. We're going to touch on why that's important in just a minute. Now, conversely, when you're doing, let's say, a squat, could you hold the feet for me? When you're doing a squat, and you come down for the glutes, like so, and you'll be bent forward about here. The actual
see where it's not going up.
The actual angle here is only about a 20 to 30 degree angle. Now, when you're doing this one, it's actually a 110 degree angle. So, now knowing what we know about resistance curves and making proper use of these things, a 110 degree resistance curve with correct weight loading is far superior to a minimal, I don't want to call it a resistance curve, but a minimal angled movement which doesn't even load the muscle properly. Which is why I repeatedly say, if you want a good butt, squats aren't going to help you unless you feel like doing them for many, 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 many years. And in fact, the reason people actually get a good butt is not from the squats, it's from the 17 other exercises that they do, which is incorporating the glutes to some degree. One more we should address is the, you'll see somebody on a bench like this, they'll have a weight resting here on their pelvis, and they'll do these where they raise their pelvis like this with the barbell or whatever weight that the plate they may be using. I would just like to demonstrate that while this is a better resistance curve, it is in no way, shape, or form 110 degrees. I mean, this is something like perhaps 30, possibly 35 to 40 degrees, again, which is not, again, it's not superior in any way. Again, not the best. If you're going to do something, do the best possible one. Again, these all fall just miserably short.
Right.
So back to bilateral. Bilateral training Well, it's a complicated subject, but let's only refer to the legs here and why it's better to train the glutes one leg at a time. So, in a previous video, I addressed the tricep muscle. The tricep muscle is called the tricep muscle because it's made up of 3 muscles. It connects up here and then connects again down here. Now we know how it pulls. We understand that now. It's wonderful. Now, bear with me. The tricep and the bicep are the same as your quad and your hamstring. Now, not exactly the same because quad is obviously 4 and tri is 3. However, the main muscles that you see on your leg, the big thick ones, the quad muscles, the 3 showy ones. There's one more muscle that's actually underneath those 3 that starts and originates in the same place in the lower leg, the same place down here on the tibia, and it connects, same place up here on the, sorry, not the same place as the other 3. It connects inside the pelvis. Now, the reason it's important for you to notice that, and the reason why it's more important to train your glutes in a bilateral manner, is because of that one muscle. When you're training your glutes and you're operating both muscles at the same time, as in both legs at the same time for your glute exercise, no matter what it may be, it doesn't matter what it is, you are sacrificing range of motion. Reason being is because of that one little muscle in each leg. So you're unable to get a complete range of motion in both of your glutes because they're working at the same time, which is why we use the multi-joint hip machine. And also you can use that for your adductors and your abductors as well, which is the muscles on the outside and the inside of your leg. You simply put the lower end of your leg on the machine, face it another direction, you lift your leg like this, as opposed to pulling your glute through. It's actually a wonderful machine for most of your glutes and your adductors on either side of your legs.
But if you don't have a machine...
We're getting to that. So, thank you.
Which I don't.
So I don't have one either, as a matter of fact, and it's not a problem for me because there are other alternatives. No, I just want to stress, if you have access to this, it is the best one.
Right.
And it does, it's just the best one. Just use it if you can. Learn how to use it and use it properly. Using it properly, again, is starting at the highest position you're comfortable in, pulling it through in a slow and controlled manner, ending, and then again going back up in a slow and controlled manner. Do that one leg at a time, back and forth for 3 sets. Again, you don't need much weight, guys. If you can do that with good intensity, 3 sets, you're not going to want to do anything else for your ass. You're going to be done.
It's going to hurt.
At 2, if you're doing it right at 2, you're going to want to go home. You're going to say, I don't want to do the 3rd set. But you're gonna if you want a nice ass. Now, so let's go ahead and talk about the 2 other exercises you can do, which are also superior exercises.
Yes.
Superior, however, this one is the best in my opinion. These 2 fall close behind in 2nd place. So, number 1, everybody knows it, the step up. The step up is real simple. It's where you have a bench or another object, and you put one leg on it, and then you just simply step up.
Step up.
So it bears talking about how to correctly do this. It's not like just jumping up a big stair. Oh, I'm serious.
No, but I use the booth at the restaurant.
Perfect.
Which is a perfect level for me.
Good height for you.
Unlike the stage at the park, which was way up here, and in the hot sun. So I like, complaining. But I like the benches at work. Much. Not that it's easier, but it is just as effective if you do it the right way.
Yep. So one thing that you'll notice about the step up, guys, is it kind of looks exactly like the multi-hip machine. If you think about it, you're elevating your upper leg, your lower leg is going straight down, and then you're pressing through like this. So it's actually the same motion. The reason it's not as good is because it doesn't have the machine cam that the multi-directional machine does. So due to that cam, it decreases the resistance at the end and it increases at the beginning, which again is the correct resistance curve, guys. That is how you want to do it. The step up is not as good because it does not have that cam. That's really one of the only reasons. Now, as to performing it correctly, back to levers. The more you lean forward when you do the step up, the easier it's going to be.
Right.
Reason is because you're leaning the weight of your torso more over the lever, shortening the lever. The more you're able to keep your back straight, the more weight or being pressed down by gravity is going to be operating on your upper leg or your femur, which is where the quad is located, obviously. So when you're doing them, you want to have one leg firmly planted as high as you're able to plant it comfortably, meaning you're not contorting your body in a strange position. You're able to stand up. No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
You're able to stand upright, and your leg is, your foot rather, I'm sorry, is as high as you're able to elevate it without contorting your body. From this position, the next thing you're going to do, keeping your torso as upright as possible, you're going to very slowly lift yourself up with no momentum, no jumping, no assistance from your other leg. You're simply going to raise yourself up. And then, this is the important part, as soon as you hit the top, your second leg, it's okay to touch it down for a brief second just to regain your balance, but I don't want you putting weight on it. I then want you going immediately and slowly back down. Now, when you try this for the first couple times, you will probably screw it up. You're going to be using momentum, you're going to be swinging, you're going to be
want to jump.
doing the thing with your arms, you know, but just practice. It's very simple. Practice a couple times on each leg, you'll get more used to it. As you're getting used to it, you can increase your torso, lean backwards more. However, in the beginning, keep it like pretty, centered over your leg. It's going to assist with your balance. It's going to give you a good feel for the movement. As you get better and stronger, you can control the difficulty by simply moving your torso. If you get really, really, really strong, and I stress that, you can start adding weight like dumbbells. But you have to be so strong to add dumbbells, it's almost crazy. Most people will not be able to do it. Most people simply standing upright with their torso upright will be completely unable to do this movement. It takes a lot of training to be strong enough to use dumbbells. Don't think you can use them, because if you're trying to...
It's a hard movement by itself.
By itself, it's hard, yeah. And again, it's because you're training one leg at a time.
Yes.
But I think we beat that to death.
So the slower, the better.
And well, the slower on the negative.
On the negatives.
You want a slow raising movement, but you don't want to slow a fast. You don't want it too fast, because if it goes too fast, you're going to be inclined to push with your calf,
right,
to jump, to use momentum. So you want it slow enough that it's clear you're in control.
Yes.
But the negative, you want to be nice and slow, because that's where the damage really occurs. So then the next exercise, and again, I'm going to say it's on par with the step up as far as how good it is. And again, this is another one that everyone can do. You don't need a fancy gym for this. And that's going to be a reverse lunge. Now, we all know what a lunge looks like. It's where you step forward and you lunge. Most people will do it with a barbell or with dumbbells. I think most people do lunges for their quads and for their glute. I'm really not sure. The lunge itself is not a very good movement. Again, yes, I know everybody does them. The lunge itself is not the best movement, because your angles, your levers are very compromised. It's not the best movement. However, a reverse lunge is something different. Reverse lunge is where you literally do it backwards. I don't think I need to explain that. But
right,
instead of stepping forward, you're stepping backwards, and you're slowly lowering yourself backwards, and then you're going back up. Now, that's not the same thing as a lunge. It's not to be confused. It's different muscles working. If you do a reverse lunge standing elevated, maybe 6 to 8 to 12 inches, depending how tall you are, off the ground with your foot, that is not reverse lunging, the one that you're actually stabilizing your weight on, that is the most effective. And if you'll notice, again, it looks just like the other two. And the reason it looks just like the other two is because this is how physics works. If an exercise looks similar to another one, probably is, and it probably has the same benefits. The only time that comes into question or play is when you're using a barbell or cables, because when you're using cables, you can quite literally change the direction of gravity, and when you're using a barbell, you're compromising everything. I don't like barbells. I don't like barbells for really anything, actually. They're very ineffective. I use a barbell for exactly one exercise, and I don't even need to use it for that. It's just comfortable. I'll even go ahead and do a broad statement that if you're doing exercises with barbells, you're already losing, because you're sacrificing all kinds of range of motion and everything else. It doesn't matter what exercise it is. If you're using a barbell, you're sacrificing the exercise. You shouldn't be using them. But anyway, so let's get on to the other leg muscles. So we did the glutes.
Yep.
I know a lot of women will want to know that.
Yes,
so
they do.
just to summarize the glutes, guys. Squat, not so good. The hip extension while laying down with the barbell on your pelvis, not so good. How do we know if it's good? Big range of motion, proper resistance curve, heavy loaded in the front, light loaded in the back. For the glute, we want to train one leg at a time.
Yes.
And again, just the tempo, the actual speed of the movement should always be quicker in the beginning, or the positive, and should always be slower at the end, or the negative of the portion. When I say slower, I do mean to count. Don't just say, oh, I'm going slower.
1001, 1002,
1003, 1004. So when you're going up, you want about 1 to 2 seconds going up, or the positive, and when you're going down, you want closer to 4 seconds slowly lowering. That's called time under tension. If you're able to do, let's say, I don't even know, let's say you're doing step-ups, and you're able to do 10 really good step-ups on each leg, and you do them really quick, and then I make you do them at the correct tempo, you're going to do a lot more work, and you're probably going to fail on 3 or 4.
You won't do 10.
You're not going to get to 10, because you're doing the same exact amount of work in a far shorter amount of time, which is increasing your intensity and muscle damage. And again, you're not just wasting time in the gym. We don't have time. Nobody's got time. Believe me, everybody tells me they don't have time. I don't have time. Why would you spend an hour or two in the gym when you can get the same results in 30 minutes? Doesn't make sense. Not even the same results, far better results.
Far better.
Far better, far superior. But anyway, so that's basically glutes. I know that was lengthy, but let's go on to hamstrings and quads. Hamstrings and quads. Oh God, it's so simple, but so we're gonna, let's just do, let's get rid of this guy. Let's go to, let's talk quads. So, he's a little too slow to demonstrate, so we're going to use this because it's a little bit bigger.
Here comes Jose's leg.
So this is Jose. He was an old friend of mine. He donated his body to science for me.
Yes, thank you, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch. So here we go. Now we have an accurate sized leg. You guys can follow along. So let's just pretend we're going to do leg extension, walking quads. So a proper leg extension, just pretend this is your leg. Follow along. It's very easy to do. You're going to make sure that this upper bone, the femur, upper bone, whatever, is going to be at a slight angle, like so. You're going to make sure that the weight is as far down at the end of your lever as you can manage. You're then, from this position, and I do mean exactly like this, going to do this. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. Now this is where you're going to end, because in this position you're seating at a machine, hopefully. If you're not in a machine and you're actually just on a bench like this, that's fine as well, but obviously the machine is superior. Slightly superior. Now once you reach the top, you're going to go, flex it really hard, 1 to 2 seconds, just a good flex on that muscle, and then you're going to again slowly lower it. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. That is 1. I think we got that. Pretty simple. How do we accomplish that? Leg extension machine. I don't know a single gym that doesn't have one. I don't know one. Okay, so what do we do if the leg extension machine is taken? I mean, well, you can obviously wait, but I don't recommend that, because again, who's got time? You can go to a different exercise. You can ask to work in with the person. These are not really concerns I address, but I know people are going to bitch. So it is what it is. Figure it out. It is the best exercise. It's a leg extension. The leg extension gets 100% quad activation.
Right.
No other exercise does that. Are we clear? No other exercise does that. How many exercises do we need for the quad?
1.
Thank you. That is it.
That's all I do.
Now, we're going to just very briefly touch on this because I hear this all the time, and it drives me crazy. You have to do this leg exercise to make this part of your quad bigger. You have to specifically turn your foot to this angle to bring out the outer sweep of your quad. You have to specifically do only upper range to get definition in the lower part of your quad. These are all just stupid. They're just dumb. I don't have anything nice to say about these people who say these things. That I don't understand where this comes from. It makes no logical sense. This is gym bro logic. Bodybuilders, bodybuilding coaches, everybody will say these things. It's not true. Let me introduce you to something called the all or nothing principle. Pretty simple. Either the muscle fires or it does not. Okay? Next talking point with the quad. We're going to go back to the fact that it has 4 muscles. All 4 of those muscles connect right here. Right here, guys. All 4 of them. One doesn't go down here, one doesn't go over here, one doesn't connect to your foot, and one's not over here. They all connect in the same exact place. That means they all pull on the lever from the same exact place. They all connect up here. How could you possibly train one and not the other? How could you possibly do that? It goes against all logic and science. Your foot position, guys. Changing your foot position either does one of 2 things. It either makes it comfortable or uncomfortable. That is all it does. Me changing the position of this lever does not change the fact where the muscles originate. It doesn't change that. Your quad does not have a brain. There's no brain in your leg. It doesn't know what your foot's doing. It knows it has one job. Its job is to pull this lever. That's the only thing it knows. It knows, I have to lift this lever up. Now, if your leg's like this and you pull like this, it still just has to lift the lever. It's just not using all the muscle. It's not firing everything. It's just firing just a little bit. But all the muscle is still firing, but it's not like all being maximally strained. It is still all firing, but it's not being strained maximally. If it's down here and the weight's here and you got a good resistance curve, then yeah, you're maximally using it. You're using all of it. If you're doing a squat, you're using 30% of it. Let's compare it to houses real quick. So you can either save up your money, buy a really nice mansion for $3 million, or you could buy the same exact mansion for $1 million. You can do squats with 300 pounds for 10 years to get a nice butt, or you can do step-ups correctly for 2 years, get a great ass. You can decide. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do. You guys can pick what you want to do. If you want to be ineffective, if you want to have fun and be ego lifting and show off for people at the gym who don't care who the fuck you are, if you want to show off for people who don't know your name, if you want to show off for that girl who's not looking at you, I don't think you should. I think you should focus on making yourself better and healthier, which means learning on